Hello, and welcome to One Cool Thing, PC Mag's daily show where we talk to you about one cool thing that we've been testing out here in PC Labs. I'm Tom Brandt. This is Sasha Segan. We have a very exciting but we're a bit on edge about this thing we're going to be talking to you about today. It is the Google Clips camera. But before we get to all that, know that if you have any questions, please enter those into the comments in the Facebook Live video stream. If you're watching this later on YouTube or somewhere else on the internet, we apologize we can't interact with you live, but definitely come back tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern Time where you can ask us questions then. So, Sasha, the Google Clips camera is from Google, right? So it should be kind of good.
Yeah, the Google Clips is really interesting because it's a super high-profile product from a super high-profile company that is bad. It is bad. The Google Clips, so it's an interesting idea. The idea is that it uses artificial intelligence technology to essentially act as an event photographer.
Right.
It's a camera that you place somewhere in your room, which will, in a room with an event going on in it. Mm-hmm. If you're playing with a new baby, you're having a party, or hanging out with your friends, you place this camera somewhere in the room, and the camera decides when to take 7-second video clips of things going on in the room to immortalize them and save them to your Google Photos library. There are a string of problems with this.
Yeah,
because
I can think of many.
Yeah, because the conceptual idea is good. However, the composition of, so first of all, it only takes 7-second video clips, not stills, although you can capture stills from the video clips.
Right, but that requires more work at the end.
Right. The 7-second video clips are 15 frames per second, so they're jerky, and they're silent. Okay. The camera's single fixed focus lens is grotesquely fisheyed because its biggest problem is that it's sitting in one place in the room. And so the composition is always bad. Because it needs to be sitting on something. In my experience, I took the Google Clips to family events, to a trade show. It was almost always either too high or too low for what it was trying to shoot.
Now, but it can also, after its name, be clipped to something, right?
Yeah, it could be clipped to your body.
That's extremely creepy if I do this.
And you can wear it, you can wear it as a body cam. And I'll show you what happens if you wear it as a body cam, for instance, at a comics convention I went to.
Okay, so let's talk about all that, and we'll kind of go over exactly the types of videos that it can capture. But if you're just joining us, this is the Google Clips camera from Google. It is very creepy in most scenarios. And yeah, so definitely ask us questions if you've got them. Now, before we get anything else, how much does this cost?
This costs $249, and
for a grainy video camera.
Yes, for a poor quality video camera. And I want to go into a little more depth about how it's creepy, because it's creepy in a different way than Google is usually creepy. So Google is usually creepy because Google is vacuuming up tons of information about you into the internet and processing it to attempt to influence your behavior.
Right, and make money off.
And make money off of you. This camera is creepy for a different reason. So the Google Clips camera, by default, does not save anything to the internet. The clips, and can store about 5,000 clips in the camera, the clips get stored in the camera. Then you can look at them with this smartphone app. You can decide what to save locally. You can decide what to save to the internet. It does not save anything automatically to the internet. So it's not creepy in that standard Google way. It's creepy in a new, different way. And the new, different way that it's creepy is that you can't set the Google Clips camera to continually record.
Right.
It just spontaneously decides when to record and when not to record.
And the basis of that decision, correct me if I'm wrong though, is when it detects a face or some other thing that the AI inside deems capture worthy.
But when I was taking it to parties, people who were aware of the camera were very uneasy because it turns out that if you have a camera continually recording, you come in and your mind is like, oh, there's a camera in this room, and you either perform to it or ignore it.
Sure.
If you have someone walking around shooting photos, you're aware of them, you're aware of when they're shooting a photo. With this thing, you are never sure when it is taking a photo and when it's not. And there's this continual sense of uncertainty that keeps everyone in the room on edge.
Now, I do see, so that's true. However, I do see here on the app that it is doing some things below this this screen here, and it's actually showing you that it's capturing on the app. So you could, to be extra creepy, right, you could be kind of sitting in the corner during your event or ballet recital or what have you, and you could be, you know, monitoring the Clips camera while it's recording. However, that's not what it's designed.
You can also press this button down here to voluntarily take a clip.
Okay.
So if you need 6 seconds right now, you press this button and it will take a clip.
Okay.
Other specs, by the way, so the Clips, so it's got about 3 hours of battery life. Charges using USB-C on the bottom here.
And how much storage do we have?
It has 16 gigs of storage, which is about 5,000 clips.
Okay, so, it sounds like then with 16 gigabytes of storage but only a few hours of battery life, you're probably
You
going
will
to
always run out of battery before you run out of storage. Yeah, there's no question.
So let's go ahead and take a question about the Google Clips camera.
How correctly or incorrectly does it detect what to save? Like, what percentage of the time do you think it's actually correctly picking?
I would say it's got about a 70-30, maybe 60-40 in terms of good clips. And let's go to let's go to some of my clips. Okay. So see here, these are clips from when I was having coffee with my daughter.
So you set this on the table.
I set this
in the
on
coffee
the table.
shop. Okay.
And the first thing you notice is that if it's on a table in front of you, the two people are grotesquely fisheye distorted.
Right.
And it's too low, and your heads are cut off.
Well, actually, let's show a moving version. So
Yeah,
we can see
let me
that
show you a moving
fisheye
version
better.
of this, yeah.
Yeah, as you can see here on the side with Sasha's
So I'm
right
like
shoulder.
seriously fisheye distorted.
Yeah. But the cup looks fine. So basically, yeah, it's focusing on the center of the
It's
image.
focusing on the
So why did they decide to go with a fisheye lens versus just a, you know, regular?
They're trying to capture as much as they can.
Okay.
And so now here's a family event I went to that had a baby at it.
Okay.
And the baby is in frame, but the composition of the image is so bad. Like here, for instance, you see the baby is in frame, definitely. But I put it on this shelf, and there was no shelf at the right height or distance to compose the image properly, and I'm distorted, and you know, my family members are distorted.
Now, to be fair, this problem is not something that was part of this situation. It's part of the problem. Really belongs to how Google has designed this, which is that there is no motorized thing to move it around to frame the shot, and the whole point of it is that you are not framing it yourself. You're leaving it to theirs to go. So you're very limited in terms of what it can capture.
I wanted good images out of that afternoon with my family, so eventually I just picked up my phone and I started shooting the images I actually wanted.
Right. So for serious type events like a baby shower or a, you know, certainly a wedding, this is not a substitute for any other way that you would capture photos. This really doesn't help with.
Now here's an interesting use case. And by the way, here we notice one of the bad clips it took. It tends to take a lot of clips of you repositioning the camera.
Yeah, I noticed that actually while we were talking about
So
it.
here's I was recharging the camera and it started spontaneously taking clips in the kitchen.
Now, why is that though? Because it's not detecting a face there, right?
No, I don't know. I don't know. So, okay. So I wore it on my jacket and went to a comics convention. And that actually turned out to be the best use because I was walking around a lot, and you get a bunch of these clips of just kind of randomly walking down the hallway at the comics convention.
Yeah.
This is not good
because
stuff.
Crooked
because it started crooked because it's a little heavy and it started drooping on my jacket. Right. But you also get some pretty decent clips of what was happening at the comics tables. Like here's somebody handing over a book to be signed. Although, notice it got it too late. Like it should have been her handing over the book, and instead it's her taking away the book.
Right.
Like, one thing that strikes me, here's a lot of stuff from just like, it was taking random things in the hallway
Yeah.
at the comics convention.
Yeah.
One thing that strikes me about this product is that Google really just has an absurd amount of money. And this is a beautiful piece of hardware that clearly took some time and money to design from an industrial design perspective.
Right.
Like,
and you can't actually tell how well designed it is. It's a very small device. And when I was looking at pictures before I saw the physical thing, I was like, oh, this is just a white camera with a big lens. But no, it is really well designed.
in terms of like just a physical object that doesn't actually have a function, it's really pretty.
So here's the question that I have for you all, which is, who is buying this? And I
Is
guess
anyone buying it?
I'll ask you that question too. Who is going to buy this?
I don't think anyone should be buying this.
Okay.
I think the issue is that Google has so much money
Yeah.
that they can put out a product that is a total failure every once in a while, just so they can iterate on the concept.
Right, and we see that kind of thing, that kind of putting out a product out there fairly frequently at PC Mag. We try not to review outlandish things that no one will ever buy, like, you know, $50,000 whatever. But this seems like it's kind of in the in-between category, where it's a cool idea, but it's really I guess the most similar thing would be something that Google has tried before, which is the Google Glass. Although much more expensive, but
Or
still.
the Nexus Q media streamer from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
That was another failed Google
Yeah.
project idea.
It depends on how far you want to go back. Google has done a lot of these types of things. You know, the only thing I can think of is if you're a teenager going to the pool, or well, actually, that's another question I have. Is it
not water
waterproof?
resistant.
So it's not water resistant. Okay,
Yeah.
so you can't go to the pool. So a teenager going to like the bowling alley or something like that. Again, this is just a hypothetical scenario. Problem is, yeah, so it's fun. Those 6-second video clips are fun. Problem is, $250. That's not a high school type purchase.
Yeah, $99 is what you would expect, and especially given the crappy video quality of this device.
Frankly, yeah, the output that it's doing is, to me, worth around or slightly
$99.
less than $100. And I think one of the key improvements that if they decide to improve on this, they could put a 4K sensor in here and allow you more robust tools on the editing side to then decide what parts of the clip you want to keep, and maybe increase the recording time, so that when you're at the comics convention and some famous person is signing a book, you can capture that after the fact.
Before we get to questions, I want to give one more spec, which is the perplexing resolution of these video clips. So now, when you look at the video clips in Google Photos, they all look the same. But if you download them to your PC, and I'm going to find this line in the review.
You actually have a
'cause
list
it's
of all
so
the different
funny.
resolutions.
If you download the video clips to your PC, I got video clips in 1920 by 1410, 1920 by 1250, 1920 by 1218, 1520 by 972, 1472 by 962, and 1440 by 962, all taken on the same day. No, there is no way to manually control these.
Right.
I have no idea why it is taking video clips in a wide range of semi-random aspect ratios.
Now, this is something that we we'll let you know, and we might update it if Google tells us. But you know, you can kind of think that basically that is a precursor to possibly doing something where they're editing the video size a bit to kind of focus in on the image. Problem is, they don't have enough resolution to work with.
Also, the AI is not smart enough.
Yeah,
like they're
right.
wanting to crop in on the most interesting thing in the image,
Right.
and it doesn't know what the most interesting thing is.
And I was talking to some of our video people just before this, and we were saying, well, if you have a 4K or above resolution, you can actually do it yourself, where you can zoom in on a part of the image that you want. Let's say you put a camera outside all day and take a time lapse. You can't do that with this, but that seems to me to be like, if they could figure out an easy way for consumers to do that, that seems like a great use for this.
I'd like to take some questions.
Because it's AI, does it adapt to your activities at all?
In theory, it says that it does. So it downloads. Once it downloads into the camera, if you give it permission, the algorithms for all of the frequent faces in your Google Photos library And then it says it takes images more frequently if one of those faces appears. I did not see any evidence that this was happening. However, I only used it for a week. I've seen in other reviews, Google has said you need to use it for a month or more before that sort of thing begins to become obvious. It hasn't even been out for a month.
Let's go ahead and take another question.
A viewer commented, he needs a drone carrier. Is there anything like that?
It does. That's the thing. It needs to be on a follow me drone.
Yeah.
And it needs to use the follow me drone to determine its angles. Now, in a small room, of course, that would be incredibly annoying. But for something like a theater performance or a dance performance or a recital,
still incredibly annoying,
as long as
noise-wise.
it's far enough away from the stage,
I guess
that
that's true.
might be a good thing to do. So yeah, it does need or like an outdoor event. That might be a good approach. At my family event where we were all in my mom's living room playing with the baby, I think that drone would have lasted about 6 seconds before my brother swatted it out of the air.
And also then you've got, a follow me drone isn't going to last more than 5 minutes before it needs to land and recharge. So there's a lot of impracticalities, but a lot of potential.
I think when you compared it to Google Glass, that was a very interesting comparison because it's another one of those things where there's an inherent concept at the heart of it, which kind of makes sense. AI event photographer, just like Google Glass was augmented reality, but the technology of 2018, or in that case 2016, is not capable of achieving that goal.
Sure. So that said, if you are a professional photographer out there or videographer, do not worry about the Google Clips.
Your not clients destroy your business.
Your clients are not going to go out and buy one of these. We don't think.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Okay, cool. We're all set. So this is the Google Clips camera. It costs $249. Takes grainy video. It has artificial intelligence to capture when it takes the video, but it doesn't always work correctly. And the resolution's jumbled. And for all of those reasons, we gave it 2 stars in our review, which signifies a fair product that might be worth looking at, but really you should wait and see what's going to happen with this, or more likely nothing's going to happen
But
with this.
as a peek into some of the thinking that Google is having about the future, that's interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, check out the full review at pcmag.com. And we will be back tomorrow with yet another one cool thing for you. So come back to our Facebook page tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Thanks very much for watching.